Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Ever feel like your life isn't really yours? Like everyone from your in-laws to your HOA has a handbook on how you're supposed to live, and they're not afraid to enforce it? Today in the rLounge, sometimes the only way to win is to put your foot down and maybe call a lawyer. Up first, marriage is supposed to be about building a life together, but sometimes it turns into building a hotel for your in-laws while you sleep on the couch. Wife let her family control our relationship. Now she's crying about losing it. Divorced. I, 35 male, just served my wife, 33 female, divorce papers after 8 years of marriage and 10 years together. For anyone wondering why, it's simple. Her family has controlled our entire relationship, and she's enabled it at every turn. When we first got together, things were great. She was independent, fun, and seemed to have healthy boundaries with her family. They lived about an hour away, and we'd see them once every few weeks for dinner or holidays. Normal stuff. I actually liked her family at first. They seemed close-knit in a way my family wasn't. The problems started gradually. First, it was just small things. Her mom would call daily, sometimes multiple times. Her dad would drop by unannounced when he was in the area, an hour from their house. Then, her mother needed minor surgery. My wife insisted her mom stay with us during the recovery. I agreed because it seemed reasonable at the time. 2 weeks turned into 3, then a month, then 3 months. After her mother finally left, her brother lost his apartment. Guess where he ended up? Our spare room. He was supposedly looking for work, but mostly played video games all day and ate our food. 4 months, he stayed with us. 4 months of him leaving dishes everywhere, using my stuff without asking, and cranking music at 2 a.m. My wife saw nothing wrong with his arrangement. The holidays that year were the breaking point. Without consulting me, she invited her entire extended family, parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, to stay at our house for 2 weeks. 12 people in a 3-bedroom house. I ended up sleeping on the couch in my own home while distant relatives I barely knew took over our bedroom. I suggested marriage counseling. She refused, claiming there was nothing wrong with our marriage. I was just being anti-family. According to her, the problem wasn't her lack of boundaries, it was my unwillingness to embrace her family as my own. Then came the financial issues. Her father had some minor money troubles, nothing catastrophic, just poor planning on his part. Without discussing it with me, my wife offered him $10,000 from the fund we'd been saving for renovating our kitchen. Money we'd been setting aside for years, gone in an instant because family helps family. That's when I created a separate bank account for my income. I still contributed to joint expenses, but I needed to protect what was left. The invasions continued. Her sister had a fight with her boyfriend and showed up unannounced with her 2 kids. I came home from work to find my wife had given them our bedroom, and we were relegated to the couch. For 3 weeks. 3 weeks of no privacy, children screaming at 6 a.m., and being treated like a guest at my own home. By January, I was at my breaking point. I suggested a trial separation to figure things out. She panicked, promising to establish better boundaries with her family. She swore things would change, and they did, for about 3 weeks. Then, her brother broke up with his girlfriend and moved back in. Again. The final straw came when her parents announced they were selling their house and might need to stay with us for a while, during the transition. When I said absolutely not, all hell broke loose. Then, I discovered she had given her parents a key to our house without telling me. I came home one day to find her parents sitting on our living room when my wife wasn't even home. They acted like I was the intruder, asking why I was home early, in my own house. I changed the locks the next day. My wife went ballistic. According to her, giving her parents unfettered access to our home was normal, but me wanting privacy was controlling. I quietly consulted a divorce attorney and began documenting everything. The boundary violations, the unauthorized financial withdrawals, the constant intrusions. This situation was beyond repair. The breaking point came when I arrived home to find her entire family waiting for me. They'd organized a surprise intervention to tell me how I was destroying the family dynamic with my selfish demands for privacy and unreasonable boundaries. I walked out of my own house and spent the night in a hotel. The next day I told my wife I wanted a divorce. She didn't take it seriously. She thought I was bluffing to get my way. "You're not going anywhere," she said with a smirk. "You're just throwing a tantrum." I served her divorce papers last week. The shock on her face when she realized I was actually going through with it was almost worth the years of boundary violations. Almost. The thing is, I never had a family with her. I had a living situation where I was the lowest priority, where my home wasn't my own, where my finances weren't respected, and where my privacy was non-existent. I was essentially a roommate who paid most of the bills and had the least amount of say in how the household was run. What's ironic is that the house we lived in was actually inherited from my grandparents. It was mine before we got married, but I added her to the deed because I thought we were building a life together. Now I'm fighting to keep my own family home from being claimed as marital property. I know divorce is the right decision, but that doesn't make it easy. 10 years of my life invested in someone who couldn't put our relationship first. 8 years of marriage where I was constantly made to feel selfish for wanting basic respect and privacy in my own home. I'm not looking for validation or advice. I know I'm doing the right thing for my own sanity and future. I just needed to get this off my chest because the gaslighting from her and her family had me questioning my own reality for years. No, it's not normal for your in-laws to have keys to your house without your knowledge. No, it's not normal for adult siblings to crash at your place for months without contributing. No, it's not normal for your wife to give away thousands of dollars without consulting you. I'll update as the divorce progresses. Her family isn't going to make this easy. Update. First, thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. The aftermath of serving the divorce papers was about as bad as I expected, maybe worse. 3 days after I served her, my wife showed up at my apartment with her father in tow. Apparently, they thought ambushing me at home would force me to have a conversation about our marriage. I refused to let them in and told them any communication needed to go through our attorneys. Her father started yelling in the hallway about how I was destroying the family and how I'd regret this decision. I ended up calling building security to escort them out. My attorney managed to freeze our remaining assets after proving my wife's financial misconduct with the savings account. The court ordered my wife to vacate my house, the property I'd inherited from my grandparents before our marriage. Despite her attempts to claim it as marital property, my documentation proving it was inherited and the fact that her name was only added to the deed as a gesture of goodwill worked in my favor. The judge gave her 30 days to find new accommodations. She broke down when she realized she'd have to move out of the house. Apparently, she'd been telling family that there was no way she'd lose the house in the divorce, despite it being my inherited property. She made all these promises to her family about how they could continue using it as their personal hotel even after our divorce. Her family seems to be struggling with the loss of their meal ticket and crash pad. They're pressuring her to fight harder for the house. The divorce should be finalized in the next few months, if all goes according to plan. I'll post another update. Thanks again for all the support on my original post. Final update. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and I'm finally able to say I'm officially divorced. She finally moved her remaining belongings out of my house. I wasn't present for the move out, attorney's advice, but I had a friend check on the property afterward. Her family's harassment finally stopped after my attorney sent cease and desist letters with evidence of their coordinated behavior. The letters detailed exactly how much financial liability they could face if they continued, which apparently was the only language they understood. Money talks. On June 1st, our divorce was finalized. It was a surprisingly clean break, given how messy things had gotten. No alimony due to the relatively short marriage and her documented financial misconduct. I kept my inherited house and the majority of our assets. She kept the car and personal belongings. I learned she had moved back in with her parents and was sleeping in her childhood bedroom at 33 years old. I've even started dating someone new. It's early days, but the contrast is striking. She has a healthy, respectful relationship with her own family. They call before visiting, don't expect to stay for months on end, and actually treat me like a person rather than an obstacle. The first time her mother asked, "Is it a good time to visit?" instead of announcing when she'd be arriving, I nearly fell over from shock. It's wild how your wife could look at all of that and still think you were the problem, just because you wanted privacy and respect in your own house. The fact she was promising her family that house like it was hers to give away says it all. The fact that she thought you'd never actually go through with divorce just shows how entitled she became. She got so used to you sacrificing everything that she couldn't imagine you finally saying enough. Now she's back in her childhood bedroom at 33 and you're finally free in the house that was yours from the start. Do you have any awkward family encounters like this? Share your stories with us in the comments below. Up next, some families inherit homes, others inherit HOA nightmares, and sometimes you get both at the same time. HOA insists my sister and I are not a single family household and one of us should move out. We've lived here all of our lives. I'm 21 and my sister is 19. We've lived in this house our entire lives. Our parents bought this house 27 years ago. They joined the HOA about 15 years ago. My dad died 5 years ago. Mom died 6 months ago. We are now the owners of the house. We've been visited by the HOA multiple times. They're citing that we're not a single-family home anymore since our mom has died. They've told us that according to the terms, only a single family can be a resident in the homes, and being single family is defined as a person or couple and their legal unmarried children. This meant that my mom could live with me and my sister as it was a single family according to the definition. But me and my sister living here after our mom's death means we are two families of single adults. They want us to move out so that this place becomes a single family home again. They've visited us 4 times, now asking us to leave. They say they don't like to sue out of respect to our parents, but they will do that if we continue to refuse to comply by the community rules. Can they kick us out of our own house? What should we expect and how can we fight this? Edit. Location is Washington State. Let's check in with the community for some relevant advice. First up, do you have a copy of the HOA regulations and have you read through them to verify that what they're saying is actually true? The OP replies, I couldn't find a copy in our documents. I have asked them every time to send us a copy of the terms and they always said they will, but nothing has come. The commenter asks again, what do they say when they come to the door and you ask them? I'd be inclined to tell them to stop harassing you until they can provide you a copy so you can have your lawyer review it. The OP replies, they say they're here on behalf of the HOA to give us a friendly reminder that these are single-family households and we are legally required to comply to the rules and things like that, but never have they given us anything in writing or given us the terms despite us requesting a copy every single time. Should we demand that they stop harassing us next time they show up? The next commenter says, if you want to be proactive, go to your county's recorder office and ask for help in this matter. Specifically, ask for help finding the HOA bylaws that your house is subject to. The HOA bylaws should be a record there. Many counties also allow you to access these records online as well. Next commenter says, start by attending the next HOA meeting. Explain what's happening and see if they can't reconsider. There's a chance the other board members don't know this is even happening and could put a stop to whoever is pursuing this on their behalf. If not, as others have said, remind them that no judge is likely to side with them as their argument is ridiculous and callous. The next piece of advice. Sounds like someone in your neighborhood wants to force you out so they can buy your house. I call BS on their part. Update. So I first confirmed that they are from the HOA, not just some people harassing us for the fun of it. Well, I also got the CC&Rs of the HOA, which includes a clause about single family and its weird definition. If included partners, children, grandchildren, parents, grandparents, step-parents, stepchildren, uncles, aunts, nieces, nephews, children of uncles and aunts, children of nieces and nephews, but no siblings. It even had a clause that said co-owners are not allowed to live there unless they are a single family based on the definition. We also received a letter from them telling us of our violation and demanding us to comply. So my sister and I went around to the neighborhood and gave copies of the terms and the letter we received to everyone and told them, imagine you died tomorrow. Do you want them to kick out your kids? Because they're doing it to us. They will do it to your kids as well. Help us stop them. We gathered signatures and had almost everyone contact the president and demand that this should stop. Within 2 weeks, we received a letter that says that this has been a mistake with an apology. We learned that this HOA is horrible to everyone, not just us. So there are now people preparing to run for the HOA board to replace the current members, and they're promising to have a referendum about whether the HOA should be dissolved or not, because it really is doing nothing of substance except being a pain in the butt of everyone. Summary: HOA backed off after we told everyone what they're trying to do. We will vote the board out of office, and there will be a referendum about dissolving it altogether, and we don't need it. They literally tried to kick 2 grown siblings out of the house they grew up in because some vague clause didn't include siblings in its single-family definition. You'd think grief, inheritance, and common sense would count for something, but apparently not in HOA land. You and your sister basically turned a ridiculous, callous attempt at harassment into a community-wide uprising. You exposed a deeply broken system, rallied the neighborhood, and got them apologizing in 2 weeks. Bravo. What would you do? Let us know below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.